Yes, YouTube, what is going on? Today we've got a serious transformation story. I'm here with Toby, someone that we've worked on. He's not only fixed his gut, but he's been able to now pack on some real serious muscle and do it in a sustainable way while looking after his gut as well. So a lot of people think that when you bulk up, you've got a dirty bulk, you've got to eat cake, chips, everything under the sun just to pack on muscle. Nope. That's not the case. And you can do it in a clean way without bloating, without feeling gassy, inflamed, or ruining your skin. And Toby's a prime example of this, and we're going to talk about his story, where he's come from, what he's done to get to where he is now, and a serious, sustainable transformation result. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right then, just before we dive into it, Toby, can you just give us a little bit of background about your journey, your story before, like what was going on before we started working together?
Yeah, for sure. So my fitness journey started about 3 to 4 years ago. I went to the gym and I go to do a wide grip pull-up. Never done one before. I was literally just doing the near grip, thinking I'm strong, classic kind of young-minded, 18, 19-year-olds.
Beginner gym bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I go to do a wide grip for the first time, and I genuinely I couldn't even pull up like that, which is crazy. Looking back now, when I can do muscle ups, I can do a bunch of stuff. So when I had that kind of epiphany, being like, wow, I'm nowhere near as strong as I thought I was. I thought I was strong because I could do clap press ups and all of this stuff, and it was just absolute nonsense. So I started to take gym seriously, and I did well, and I definitely put on muscle. Just over 3-4 years of gym, of course you're going to put on muscle. But recently, before I met Luke, what I was struggling with the most was not being able to actually put on the size I wanted. I wanted my shoulders to be wider, my biceps to be bigger, just basically improving from where I was. And I just wasn't really getting the results that I needed. And then when I met Luke, that started to unlock, because he was able to not only help me put on size because of me understanding, okay, what do I actually need to do? Because I was getting in the gym thinking, if I do more of this, that'll work, especially calisthenics, because as you may see, I don't know, on videos, whether you follow me or on Luke's pages at some point, I can do a bunch of cool flexibility stuff and mobility stuff and calisthenics, but I was never, I just haven't been putting on the size that I'd wanted to put on. So what Luke was able to help me with is to really give me a proper plan to know what to do and then see real results. And fortunately I have, and I went from about 57, 58 kg to about 67, and then now I've been cutting down a little bit. So I have to thank Luke for that a lot, especially with me suffering from chronic eczema for over a decade, which is really, really horrible. About 20 to 30% of the US, and I think the UK is fairly similar, people suffer from it, and it really, really sucks, and you're just itching the whole time, and it really gets in the way of things. And I found out that it was all to do with my gut, which is crazy, because all these doctors just told me nonsense, use the cream, suppress the symptoms. So I finally was able to treat my root cause, and for months and months before I knew exactly what my root cause was and the problem that caused it in the first place, which just to summarize was a bug in me that I found out I had, which now I've fortunately been able to get rid of and kill. So I was always very anxious. Is this going to trigger me? Is this going to make me itch? Is this going to make my skin just go all puffy and red and dry? And what Luke was able to do was give me a sustainable way of putting on size whilst not having to be anxious and stressed about, is this going to trigger me? Because he knows exactly what I should be eating, why, and how to make sure that I'm keeping clean, but I'm also satisfied, that I'm not leaving a meal just completely undersatiated and being boring, which a lot of people do suffer from. They go, I want to be shredded. That means I can't eat right. If I'm eating healthy, that's not exciting or fulfilling. That's not true at all, and I have Luke to thank for that.
Love that, thank you. Yeah, like as you heard there from Toby's backstory, there's a lot of things that he's been working on, wanting to improve, but a lot of things that he did before as well, like figuring out the gut stuff before. And when we obviously first met each other, he was going through that process, and I remember seeing him come into the gym and do pistol squats, muscle ups, things like that. like a lot of calisthenics work, but I know that he obviously wanted to bulk up and build muscle. And like I said at the start of this video, a lot of the time people think to bulk up, to gain size, you've got to eat rubbish and you've got to just do everything under the sun, overtrain, train 6 times a week, you know, eat, like I said, cakes, things to get your calories in. But by doing that, you're just going to upset your gut even more. And then in the long run, it just doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's not good for you, not good for your skin, not good for your mood, not good for your energy. So yeah, that's why what we did with Toby and what we do with people we work with is make sure that we are, looking to bulk up or looking to cut, for example, but we're doing it in a way that is friendly for your gut and makes you feel good both inside and out. So yeah, to summarize, from the start when we started working with Toby, I guess it was a case of we wanted to put on size, but we wanted to do it in a way that, you know, didn't trigger previous symptoms and things like that were going to affect the gut. We wanted to keep his gut happy and also put on size, which, as you can see, and from the result going up to 67 kilos, it's doable, and you don't have to do it in a dirty, bulking type of way. So yeah, next question for you, Toby. What would you say, when we first started working together, what was the main first shift that you noticed in your journey?
When it came to training, I was always very this or that. So I was always like, okay, I'll go in the gym, I'll do calisthenics, and I'll keep it light and easy. And then I'll go like, oh, I've kept it light and easy with calisthenics, so for weights, I'll really overload. And go like, you know how it is when you feel that that's the right move. If you want a progressive overload, it even sounds like it's like onomatopoeic in a way. So when Luke was giving me guidance, I really learned from him that you don't need to be like that. It doesn't need to be, oh, I go light today and then really heavy tomorrow. No, just keep a nice balance where, yes, you do want to get to a point where you're pushing and when you're getting to those final reps, but it doesn't have to be as hard as you always think, and you can still build muscle doing that. There's no problem in that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, in that sense of the question and in that response, it's basically what Toby is saying is that you don't need to overtrain. You don't need to overexert yourself every single session or train like 6 times a week. It's about having a balance. You can still do the calisthenic side of things, and you can still do progressive overload for 2-3 times a week, for example, and build muscle. So it's not that you need to just force yourself, you know, get injured or train so hard to build muscle. You can do it in a smart way and a way that is good for your gut. Because if you are overtraining, it stresses out your gut, and then that's just going to impact you with all the things you mentioned, energy, mood, tiredness, and you're not going to get the results that you want. So yeah, that's absolutely brilliant, and I'm glad that that's something that you've taken on board from the coaching. So my next question to you is, how do you think like your nutrition shifted? Because obviously you knew a fair bit about food and things like that, but what do you think sort of took that side of things to the next level for you and allowed you to bulk up, would you say?
Yeah, nutrition, the reason why it was very tough for me is because of my skin problems, which have come full circle, by the way, from what's happened. I've suffered for so many years, and then I was able to find my problems, and then also start my own products. I felt like it's, you know, worth mentioning, just because there's a lot of people out there, and you're waking up to the fact that food's one thing, and it's hugely important, but also skincare. So I went and started my own skincare brand, 100% natural, just because, just like with food, there's a lot of garbage out there. And not everything is good for you that's on the shelves. So you have to be super careful, and that brought me to find my brand. I might as well just grab some products quick.
Just through, you know, like fixing and finding out things, you've been able to do something like this, which is, by the way, a sensational product and a sensational philosophy behind it as well. But yeah, just tell them a bit about that as well.
Yeah. I thought it was worth mentioning because when it comes to food, that is the first thing you should fix. Your skin is just a mirror of what's going on inside. Yeah, and there's going to be environmental factors. If you're somewhere dirty or you're sleeping in the same sheets, yeah, you're probably going to get a bit of spots. That's very normal. But as soon as you've got your gut health in check, you can really maximize by looking after your skin properly. So, for example, I mean, out in Thailand and Bali is perfect for our sun cream, and it's just the amount of crap that's there. You've just really got to be careful. Then you've got moisturizer, and then this is our lavender, which is all lovely products, 100% natural. So that all started with gut health, which is so important. So fix that first, then you can move on to something like skincare and replacing it. You can do it at the same time, but the gut health is the first thing to fix.
100%. And obviously, yeah, with the nutrition side of things, that is something that we really wanted to focus on with Toby and his journey, because we didn't want to just give him, like a generic plan, make sure you're hitting your protein, have all these protein shakes and do all this and do all that to hit your targets, because because you have to hit a certain calorie target or be in a surplus doesn't mean that you have to have rubbish foods to hit that. You can bulk up in a clean way, like we've discussed and mentioned, and look after your gut at the same time. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you think you need to dirty bulk to put on size, Toby's a prime example that you don't. And also you can look after loads of other things, like he's mentioned, skin and things like that. You can look after all that at the same time. Whereas if you're doing it in a dirty way, you're probably going to impact your skin and you're going to get spots and things like that, and other things that come with it when you're eating a lot of ultra processed foods, which you don't need to do. Right, so next question, Toby. With the nutrition side of things, obviously we wanted to bulk up, so people think you've got to eat so much and potentially dirty foods. But how did you find working with us on the nutrition side and obviously still wanting to look after your gut? How did you find that?
The main problem that I see when people are looking to bulk up is they'll say, I need to get those calories in, so I'm just going to eat a pizza or something super high calorie, not necessarily even junk food, just foods that like high in carbs, not that high in protein, just to get those extra calories. And honestly, that's something you don't have to do. Yes, if you have some sort of deadline, maybe, but even then it's like you're just not going to feel great. So for me, what I found really great and what Luca and Core Fitness was able to put in place for me is being able to really feel full, not bloated, full and satiated, because I'm eating the right things for my body. I'm not trying to force down calories. I go, okay, I'm eating really good whole foods where after a meal, I don't really even feel like a sweet tooth craving or anything because my gut's in check. And then, of course, other parts of my life are in check, so it makes it a lot easier. So it kind of, everything does overlap, but if you get nutrition right and just focusing on, instead of, I'm going to eat super high calorie, just focusing on eating clean, you're just going to feel better, and that's going to make you less likely to go off track and start being like, I've got to eat, I've got to eat a dessert now or something like that. It will just stop that craving because you're eating clean and you're going to be full from it.
Yeah. No, I like that, and I'm glad that you sort of felt that way, because I think from my past experience and when I bulked up, potentially doing it the dirty way and, not having the knowledge I have now, I think that's massive for us, that's something that you noticed, that when obviously you came to us with the gut side of things, so we don't want to just make you just have to eat whatever just to put on size, and you don't have to, like Toby says. So obviously that's a big part for us, and I'm glad that that's part of your experience as well. So would you say, just touching on that, continuing on that, how did you find like digestion? Obviously you touched on bloating and things like that. Do you feel like even though you were eating more and like you said you felt full, did you feel like your digestion was still in a good place whilst you were bulking?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the beauty of whole foods, that everything will end up being clean. If you're eating clean, everything's going to end up being clean. So it just makes it that bit easier. As soon as you cut that out and decide to go, I'm not gonna I'm gonna try and get some more calories in somewhere else, it might end up being a bit of a slippery slope. So there's nothing wrong with you giving yourself a bit of leeway, but you shouldn't even need to feel like that, because if you start eating bad and you start eating like more desserts or something like that and trying like to fulfill your sweet tooth craving, it's just going to end up with you doing it more. It's like once you break it once, it becomes a lot harder to stick to. So if you just keep on the right track and keep in check and making sure that if you're hungry, it's okay to eat more if you're eating the right things. But usually your body will just tell you anyway. Like if I decide to go, I'm going to eat that extra bit of chicken, my body's just actually didn't need it and my mind was thinking faster than my gut, then I'm going to end up just not feeling good anyway. So I'll remember that for the next time and not have that extra piece of chicken and just keep it easy, really.
Yeah, 100%. I think when, like what you said, there's leeway, you know. I always go by the 80-20, 90-10 principle. And yeah, of course, you know, you're not going to have 100% a super clean diet the whole year round. But if you, like you said, have your gut in check, if you're doing the right things 90% of the time, you're training well, you're eating predominantly whole foods. Exactly, you don't feel the need. And do you think that that's something that has come with, you know, being able to work on these fitness goals, but also whilst looking after your gut as well? Because I know there's a lot of, you know, people out there who will tell you to just eat whatever just to bulk up. But how have you found, like, the experience? What would you say for you has been the biggest sort of difference between other things you might have tried before, whether it be on the training, the nutrition, accountability, mindset, whatever? What would you say?
Definitely. Yeah. Luke always keeps that 80-20 rule in mind, and it is very important, because what I'll do is I'll try and be strict with myself, and that can work, but you're just going to end up causing a bit of mental stress. So if you do think that you're starting and you just want to taper off, that is definitely the right move. Where if you're trying to go from eating a lot of crap to eating no crap at all, your body, that's not going to make you very happy. You're just going to feel awful. So if you slowly taper off, that is always the best method, and that's what I found. You know, I loved eating desserts, and I found it hard where I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to have any more. It just wouldn't work. 3-4 days later, I'd just have one again, then I'd feel bad because I've told myself, and oh, I'm going to stick to this, and then I haven't. So as long as you keep it in mind and go, okay, look, I know this is going to be quite difficult. I'm going to be easy on myself. I'm going to say, right, for the next few days, I'm going to have some fruit or some dark chocolate, and then slowly taper off. So you're still satisfying those needs, but then you're doing it in a way where you're not being like harsh on yourself, and you are sticking to your word. You're going, yeah, I'm slowly tapering off, and it will work. Try and set a deadline. That usually helps. Otherwise, it will just keep doing it. But you really can get to where you want to be, and it's not like you have to be super harsh with it and super harsh on yourself at all. You can do it in a really sustainable way, and I think that's what's so great with what Luke does. He's able to show you that's possible, and you don't have to be this super tough, like macho-minded person that most people would kind of picture with, oh, I'm going to be healthy and I'm going to get bulk up and then get shredded. You don't need to be like that. You can be, you can really practice self-love and do it in a successful way.
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, literally, like, hit the nail on the head. It's all about balance, as you said at the start. And that balance is what keeps it sustainable. Because if you think, like you said, you've got to do everything, you know, spot on, super intense, you know, just be, like you said, like that sort of gym bro vibe where everything has just got to be, you know, bulk up, I need to do this. It's not going to last. It's not going to be the best for you, both inside and out. So I'm glad that the sustainability, the balance is the thing that you sort of figured was a massive help from our end of the working together. So for us then, from me to you, what would you say like was the biggest impact for you on your journey with us, would you say?
For me, the biggest impact was knowing how I can actually put on size. So Luke's been super helpful with nutrition, but when it comes to putting on size, yes, eating's important, but you've got to be doing the right things, doing the right exercises. And a lot of that, I spent months thinking that, yeah, I can do maybe more calisthenics and I'm getting a bit more strength in some ways, but I'm not really looking it. And I think it does help when you see that progress, because it motivates you rather than demotivates. You know, if you look in the mirror and it's been 3-4 months and you're not really seeing much difference, you're just going to be like, oh, I can't be bothered with this, and that's when you go down like that slippery slope and eating bad foods because you're just not seeing that progress. So Luke was really able to help me make a difference in what exercises to do to actually see some growth there. And with that growth, physically and externally, it's going to help me internally and make me feel better about myself because I'm seeing a difference. Just like with everything, if you start seeing results, everything's going to come easier and easier and easier. So Luke was really, really helpful, of course, on the nutrition side, but I'd say that was a huge part as well, because I just wasn't seeing much progress for a while, and that's when I'd end up being like, you know what, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'll go to the gym, enjoy it, but I'm gonna kind of start eating a bit, and trying to enjoy myself in the wrong ways.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the training, like you said, nutrition obviously, as I always say, is a massive part of any fitness journey, but knowing how to train in a way that's going to get you to your goals, but also, like you said, feel good, physically, but also on the inside as well, and balancing that side of things, like with your calisthenics, with weights training, being able to do both and have that balance was obviously a big part of your journey. So I'm glad that sort of helped you on that side of things as well. So my next question is, you touched on, like inside as well. So obviously we've been on this journey together, we've bulked up, we've done all that side of things, but how would you say, like, obviously when you first came, the gut, prioritizing that and still bulking up was a big thing for you? How do you feel like you felt like on the inside as well? Do you feel like it's impacted, whether it's your digestion, skin, things like that? What would you say on that side of things?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of core fitness, because I felt good. I felt really good. I haven't felt this good in a long time. My energy levels are super high. Yeah, that's gonna definitely be partly to do with my journey, before Luke, and suffering from skin problems and being able to turn my suffering into success, and starting my own natural products and stuff like that. But
I just want to stop him there, because he's obviously touched on it, but the skin thing is a massive thing for me. I didn't actually realise, this is something that I learned from Toby, how I preach a lot about whole foods and how that can impact your digestion and your gut and things like that, but also what you put on your skin as well, like, is a massive thing that I've taken from Toby. So yeah, I appreciate everything that you said so far, Toby, in regards to your journey and what we've sort of worked on. In regards to then your journey, what would you say to someone who is on the fence about starting their own journey working with us or getting into coaching with us?
The main thing I'd say is it makes it a whole lot easier. A lot of problems that people start off with is they don't even know where to start, because they don't have the correct guidance, and there's so much stuff online. So being able to work with someone, especially Luke, who's able to fine-tune, not only has so much general knowledge, but is able to fine-tune that knowledge into using it for you on a personal level, helps extremely. I think that's the main takeaway from working with Core Fitness that I gather is I'm able to see Luke's knowledge and him give me that, share it with me, and then also encapsulate it specifically to help me on my journey. And that's what what usually happens when people are on the fence with, should I get a coach or not, is they go, well, there's so much free stuff online. Yeah, there's so much free stuff online, but it's how you use that free stuff and how you use that knowledge. And someone like Luke can fast track that journey for you. So yeah, you can go on your own self-discovery, but it takes a lot more time, and you end up just getting stressed and overwhelmed and anxious because you're seeing this person say this and this person saying, this is how you should do it and this is how you should do it, and you don't know what to do, and you just end up lacking motivation, lacking discipline. So having someone like Luke just makes it a whole lot easier, and that's what I'd say. And he's such a great guy. It's not like you can't just message him and have a chat and go from there. I think the more you open yourself up to working with someone, rather than thinking you can figure it out all yourself, the easier it becomes.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I'm not even going to say too much on that, but I think like Toby said, everybody's different. Everybody's body is different as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of information out there. A lot of people are confused, and I'm glad that you've got that experience, and what you've taken the most from it is that, everybody's different. So everybody needs different plans, different things catered to them, catered to their bodies, their guts, like all that side of things. So no, I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, we've covered a lot today, talked about a lot. Your journey is just, it's such a mad thing to see from our perspective, and where you've found out things yourself, obviously the bulking journey now. What is the next part of the journey for you in fitness and in life? Because that Core Fitness, we want to develop every single part of a person. What's next for you, fitness wise and everything else?
Yeah, I have to touch on the part of my like gut health journey, which a lot of people don't they overlook, because they think, oh, when you say gut health, that's just to do with food. No, it's to do with exactly what's going on inside of you, and most people have no idea. Even me, with all my knowledge of researching, founding my own brand because of me fixing the problem that was going on inside of me, doing the right tests to figure out, oh, I had this bug in me for years that was causing my immune system to be dysregulated. All of these things that I know, all of my knowledge, I still didn't even realize that how I'm reacting to certain foods. Like something so simple, I was eating a banana earlier and thinking, oh yeah, I've just finished gym, I've been on like a kind of intermittent fast for like 16, 18 hours. I should probably have something. Oh, why not have banana? That makes sense. And I come here, my energy is just like a little bit dampened. And Luke goes, well, what have you done? I go, oh, well, I munched a banana. And he goes, well, that's probably why then. You've literally eaten a banana with no protein, no nothing. So you've just had a whole bunch of sugar. So you've just gone basically like up and then straight back down. So that sort of knowledge, despite everything I have, Luke's been able to help me with that. So to answer your question on what's next in my journey, of course, yeah, I'm building my brands. We sell 100% natural products, Forticare, just through all the crap that's out there in skincare, and of course foods, and it goes hand in hand. So once you're able to get your gut in check and know what's going on, doing the right tests, which Luke has a ton of knowledge on, so you can always reach out to him if you're unsure about this test and that test, rather than try and darts at a dartboard and spend thousands of pounds on tests that aren't actually targeted for you and your problems at hand. Next part of my journey is I'm cutting down. I've already done really well. I've gone from 67.5 kg down to about 62.5 at the moment. So I'm already on that cutting journey. I'm feeling really good. And with Luke by my side, I know I'm just going to keep hitting the goals in my mind. And with those personal goals comes the business goals as well. They're very interlinked. So just always keep that in mind, that one area of your life isn't just going to, if you don't get one part of your life right, usually it starts creeping into others. So just try, and that's next part of my journey. Now I'm starting to get my personal side right. I'm going to see that with my business and it growing, and me being able to get my products to as many people as possible and replace a lot of the junk, just like with what Luke's doing, getting as many people to see what they're eating isn't great for them and knowing why, so they're able to actually change themselves and basically become a better version of themselves.
Yeah, that's an absolutely brilliant answer. And I think, just touching on a few things that Toby said there, I know with Toby's mentality and mindset, like whatever he puts his mind to, he's going to do. Done it with the gut health, done it with bulking, now onto the shred. Also touching on his business and that side of things. With what we try and do, and what he's mentioned is that when you lead a healthy lifestyle, when you focus on things like your gut health, like your fitness goals, your health goals, everything else comes with that. Yeah. Your business, your relationships, whatever it is, your career, whatever it is, it unlocks, because to be able to put your mind into something like you have with your skincare product, which is absolutely brilliant, by the way, it is something that you need to be healthy to do, because you having a good gut, like I touch on a lot, your mood improves, your energy improves, and then if you're in a positive mood, if you've got energy, you can then do more work as a result, and that's what makes people have successful careers, but also just lead a generally better life.
Love it, don't you? I mean, being able to wake up every single day knowing you love life regardless of the ups and downs, and being able to see there's always going to be light in the dark. We know that your gut is about 70 to 80% of your immune system and mood. So when that's the case, the more you focus on that, the more these other parts of life just are going to get better, and you're going to get better, and anything that you have set in your mind is going to become easier to reach, because you're doing the right things daily, and that consistency just keeps compounding and compounding. And over months and months, you will see that progress where at one time in life you saw that wasn't really happening, just like with me. I spent months where I didn't really see much progress. Then, Luke came in and really helped me see that change and become what I envisioned myself being. So physically, and then of course that reciprocated into mentally as well. So I'm just very grateful to be here and in the position that I'm in, and how much Luke's helped me on my journey. And I'm really excited for what's to come, for myself, but also for Luke. And I'm hoping for all the great people that are going to become part of Core Fitness. And I think it's really, really great that we're seeing this gut first and balanced approach, which many fitness coaches you don't see. You just see short reels of them being like all super tough and buff, and there's so much of that out there. And I don't think it's causing a lot of good, but there's also a lot of harm that's been created. So I think Luke's really bridging that gap, and negating that harm from seeing all those videos of just people being super buff and that sort of mentality.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it a lot, and I think it comes with learning and life experiences. You learn about these things, you learn about the gut. Not everyone knows about the gut, and that's why we do what we do, because it's something that people don't really know too much about. And like you touched on, 70 to 80% of your immune system, all those things, people won't know that naturally. So honestly, really appreciate your time, Toby, and I think like everything that you've done so far on this journey, it's a two-way street. At the end of the day, I can tell you to do things, but I can give you the plans, I can tell you this, keep you accountable, but at the end of the day, you have gone through with it as well, and you're committed to everything, finding out things, sticking to it, being consistent with it. And I think that's why you're so successful in everything that you do. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for the journey. We're going to keep it under wraps, but there's more to come with Toby in terms of the fitness side of things. But I just want to touch on as well what you briefly touched on with your brand. If you don't mind, I would like to talk about just show like people, because what Toby's talking about and what I preach as well, if you have seen on my social media, that it is about what you put inside your body, but a big thing that I've learned is it's also about what you put on your body as well. So I think it would be good to show the people like stuff and how you can be 100% natural with skin as well. So I'm going to grab that, you talk about the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people will finally get their gut in check, but they want to like maximize their looks, right? I mean, everyone wants to look good and feel good. So once you're feeling good, I think it's really important to take care of yourself and making sure you're using the right products. A lot of people are still using these mainstream skincare brands. Some of them are really good. I'm not hating on all of them, but they don't contain ingredients that are actually meant for your skin. There's a great app out there. If you're from the UK, you might know it's called Yucca, and you can scan your products and it'll give you a score. I would really ignore the score, but I wouldn't ignore the ingredients. And you can see all the scientific research behind these ingredients and why they're endocrine disruptors and carcinogens. And it's just crazy. Like, why is this in skincare when the products like tallow that I formulated at home, that's been used for what, like hundreds and hundreds of years, so even longer, thousands of years really. So when you have all of that kind of historic backing behind it, and there's still people not knowing that they're putting endocrine disrupting chemicals on their skin, it's just, why take that risk? It doesn't really make sense to me. But yeah, I appreciate Luke like shouting me out and everything. Do whatever you want with it, do your own research. But yeah, I'm just happy that I've been seeing loads of people just absolutely loving it and replacing their products, just like Luke's been able to do. A lot of people have been eating foods thinking that, oh yeah, this is healthy, it's a protein bar, it's super healthy, and they're just eating rubbish. So I feel a huge part of Luke and I's journey is waking people up to the fact that this is the case. There's ingredients we're not meant to be consuming, yet they're in our foods and they're in our skincare. Doesn't make sense, and yeah, I think that's a big part of both of our journeys in the future, is really helping as many people as possible understand this and help replace them, knowing that they can take our products, take our products, and then not have to worry about what's in them anymore. They don't even have to look at the ingredients. They can just trust it. So yeah, I hope to share my products with as many people as possible. Lots more to come, and I really do hope more and more people wake up to what's in their food and what they're putting on their skin.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on it because I think we've spoken a lot about the gut today, and in Toby's journey, and obviously the way that we coach gut first fitness, it stems from your gut. But like I said, the food you put in, it's also about the habits, the things you cook with, things you put on your skin, as we touched on now. So I thought it's worth mentioning because not a lot of people understand that part as well. Like, we don't understand, about the foods we're putting in. You don't understand other things. So like I said, at Core Fitness, we're big on obviously physical fitness and your fitness journey, but we also want you to develop as a person and who you are. And like I said, that comes from leading a healthy lifestyle. So obviously Toby's, been working with us on the fitness side, but of course with fitness comes mental, and you improve as a person and building your brand and things like that. So I think what he's doing is absolutely brilliant, and I thought it's only fair to share what he's actually built. So this is the brand, it is Forticare, and this is what I've been using. Just like Toby said, it's tallow, it's single ingredient, that's what you need. Like food, single ingredient foods, single ingredient skincares, you don't want too much in your products, and that's unfortunately what a lot of things have. So yeah, shout out to you.
Too much is the wrong thing.
Exactly.
I think that's the main thing. I think too many products of it. You can have a great product, you can have a really, really great product with a ton of ingredients, as long as they're good, as long as they're that they're safe. And I think that's the main problem nowadays. You go look at some regular protein bar, you're not gonna see 20 really good ingredients for you. No, there's gonna be 20 plus or 10 plus awful ingredients in there that there's no need for them to be, and it's terrible additives, sucralose. So just be careful, be wary, and these things affect you more than you think they do.
That's it. It's just having the knowledge for that. But yeah, I think we've covered a lot today. There's a lot we've talked about your journey, which is absolutely brilliant to see. And obviously appreciate the kind words that you've said today, Toby, about Core Fitness and what we do. But yeah, I can't wait to see the next part of your journey, both physically, but also with everything else that you're doing. And I really appreciate your time. So thank you for that. And have a good rest of your day, YouTube. See you on the next one.